I'm guessing it's because uh, like we have a good connection with them. Like we've been one of their first protocols. We've also like I find that Dopex, since it's been here, like since Arbitrum launched, we had the chance to onboard a lot of users, their early users. Yeah, because we had a lot of traction back in the day, when it was a peak bull and everything. So yeah, like right now, like yeah, for sure, GMX took the spotlight and everything. And GMX is a great protocol and everything, but we're happy that we still have that connection with GMX, with the Arbitrum DAO. But yeah, we're looking forward to for whatever they have coming for us. So let's see what happens.
Can you guys
Real
hear
quick,
me now?
I want to give you guys. Yeah, we can hear you.
Good?
We can hear you.
Okay.
I just want
Yeah,
to give
man.
you guys flowers because I think Dopex, GMX, and Magic were kind of like the early project that defined how people thought about Arbitrum, like the culture, the narrative around derivatives, and efficiency. You guys kind of helped shape in a lot of people's mind what could be done on Arbitrum. So kudos on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. By the way, yeah, I think like it was mostly the fact that like Arbitrum became like this degen L2 chain, right? Like Dopex, like everybody, like even me, like when I joined Dopex before that, I was like just a community member, and Dopex is basically the protocol that got me on Arbitrum, and the fact that when I was looking at Dope, I was like, I don't understand shit. Like I was very a noob, you could say. Like I was a very amateur, like in the whole derivative space and all that, and yeah, like they introduced me to like options more in the complicated matter. So a lot of everything that happens on the back end of options and how complicated it can be and everything. And I think that's what drove a lot of the degens to Arbitrum, because there's that the derivatives space basically is growing, right? So it's not like before, like the past bull runs where it was like all Ponzonomics, pyramid schemes and stuff like that. Like we transitioned more into I find a trading type of a narrative where like GMX, right? GMX, you trade perps. So you trade against other players. The same thing with Dopex, which is options, right? You trade against other users that are taking the other side of the contracts. So yeah, I think the narrative is pretty cool there, and yeah, I'm happy that it picked up because it just made sense. It just made sense, yeah.
So Thomas, so on the topic of Dopex being different from other protocols, I guess we can get started on the Twitter space and all that stuff. So if you can explain to the audience, given that the audience isn't really exactly as technical as some of us here on the stage, to get started, can you give a brief introduction on what Dopex is and what brought the team to build on Arbitrum, and also how the platform generates revenue? And also feel free
Yeah,
also
for sure.
individual behind the Dopex profile, feel free to join on the conversation as well, and give an overview on brought you guys into the space as a whole. I know it's a multifaceted question here, but yeah, man, glad to have you guys. Thank you for taking the time to join us here.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys having us, by the way. Yeah, the Dopex basically profile. I won't be talking today. Basically, you just joined just to show up as the picture, the profile picture, right? But I'll be taking the conversation mostly because a lot of our team members were busy tonight. So but yeah, like I'll give you a brief presentation of Dopex. So Dopex, we started on Arbitrum about like almost at the launch of Arbitrum. We've basically chosen Arbitrum because basically the contracts of options. Uh, the idea was that our boss TZ, which he came up with the idea. Let's start at derivatives, because there wasn't a lot of derivatives platform when Dopex launched. So he said, let's build this platform where users are going to be able to trade derivatives through options and stuff like that, right? And the thing is that if we would have built on the mainnet, is that these contracts are very computational extensive, right? So they're very expensive in the information that goes inside the contract. So what happens there is that the gas fees back then, like in the bull market, right, with Ethereum were crazy. So it wasn't doable for us to build stuff like that. Like for a small player that just wants to purchase options, it wouldn't have made sense. Just the gas fees would have killed half of his whatever type of, unless you're a whatever type of trade you would have wanted to do, wouldn't have made sense for like the average retail, right? So we've decided, like, what if we launch on L2, because L2s, they give the security of Ethereum, and Arbitrum basically was one of the first ones with the L2s. I think there was what like Polygon back then. I wasn't really still like a hard DGen DeFi member myself, but yeah, the owners that, I mean, the boss TZ and a bunch of the other guys that are that started with Dopex, they decided to launch with Arbitrum because it just made sense, gas efficiency wise, for the users to transact with options, and also like the team at Arbitrum are like the super, I would say, welcoming. There are, I met them a bunch of times. Like I talk with them daily, and they're the best guys. BD I would say BD wise, they're really good. So yeah, I have nothing to say on their badly about Arbitrum, and I think we that was the right choice to choose Arbitrum. So yeah, we've decided to build on Arbitrum. Then we started there, and basically the idea behind Dopex, that is we're an exchange for basically users to transact options. So you could basically come on the Dopex platform and be able to sell options where you basically provide liquidity for options, and there's the users that come on the other side and they can purchase these options, right? So basically an option is a contract where you decide, you set parameters on this option, and you decide like at which point you want to sell Ethereum, or for how long, right? There's expiries. Our options are basically European, which means that you can't settle them until the expiry. So basically, you come on the Dopex platform, you deposit liquidity on whichever underlying you want. Let's say Ethereum or BTC. We have mostly all of the blue chips, and yeah, like we have also like some altcoins, I would say, but not a lot of them. Like the altcoins that are pretty big, like Curve, Ohm from Geom, sorry, from Olympus, and other coins like that, right? But yeah, so you come on the platform, you deposit liquidity on these assets, and you decide, like, you choose the parameters that you want. You can choose, I want to sell Ethereum, for example, at $1,700 for 1 week. That's the contract you're selling. Then the purchaser comes, he purchases that contract for until the expiry of the week, and when he purchases that contract, he has the right to purchase your Ethereum at 1,700 by the expiry. So what that means is that if Ethereum at the expiry is over $1,700, the profit on top of that $1,700 goes to the buyer of the option. And yeah, basically the call options, which is basically when you're bullish, so you purchase these call options. They're covered calls. So the depositors, they deposit the underlying, and on the put side, you have cash secured puts. So you deposit stable coins, and when the users purchase, you're basically short the underlying token. Yeah, that's pretty much like a very high level, like our options product, and we have our token, which is the DPX token, which is our governance token that accrues also the revenue from the protocol. So whatever revenue, since we're the middleman, right? We're basically, whatever, we allow the users to come deposit liquidity. We allow the users on the other side to purchase these options. We have this little transaction fee that happens on every transaction, and that transaction fee is directed to the DPX holders. And when I say DPX holders, we have this model, which is VDPX, similar to the curve model, which is you lock for 4 years, you get the V curve in return, and us, you get the DPX in return, and you basically accrue the yield, and you get to, like, this is not live yet, but you will get at one point, once we have the gauges open, the same way Curve has them, you'll be able to direct the liquidity of the DPX emissions to the option vaults that you would like to incentivize, right? So then after the incentives are directed to a vault, and the liquidity providers that deposit liquidity in that vault are gonna gain yield on their deposits. Meanwhile, they're waiting to sell their option contracts. Yeah, so that's pretty much on a high level what Dopex does. We have a lot, like, Dopex is a huge ecosystem, so we have a lot of structured products that we're building. We have a lot of, like, the options on chain are very inefficient, and that's why options still haven't picked up, in my opinion, on DeFi, right? So there has been now the new narrative is like perpetual protocols, right? Everybody's trading on that. But yeah, the option space still hasn't picked up, because you're fragmenting liquidity throughout all the parameters that the options are offering. So let's say you have $1,600 strike, 1,700 strike on ETH, 1,800, 1,900. Every single one of these strikes and expiries have different pools. So whenever you deposit liquidity there, or in the strikes, you basically are fragmenting the pool, the liquidity throughout these different parameters, and basically that on the buying side, that restrains, like, any type of purchases, large purchases, right? Because the liquidity won't be available. So yeah, there's this liquidity problem, and we're trying to fix it with something called Atlantics. And the Atlantics is if you want, I can go into it. I'll just, like, stop for a second, maybe see if you had any other questions, if you wanted to talk about something else before moving on to that part.
Yeah, man. Love what I'm hearing, brother. Love what I'm hearing. Do you guys use any metrics, by the way, to measure growth within the Dopex ecosystem? And, like, with that being said, does it correlate with any new features that you guys decide to add into Dopex? I know recently you guys have added in option scalping. If you want to go into that, I'd love to hear it from you, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say, like, metrics, we're still, like, early. We're basically, our way of, like, building is, like, let's just launch. Like, if you followed us for the past, like, year, you'd see that we just launched products after products after products. We're not even thinking of, like, we basically do we update the product on prod. So whenever we launch, this is like the beta mode. It's not even the official anything, and basically from there we take feedback from the users, and then we update from there, right? But yeah, we've launched, like, a bunch of products, like I mentioned, like, we have Atlantics, which from the Atlantics pool, basically it allows us to, like, build so many different products, because options is, like, it's so composable, because you have, like, these different strikes, like I mentioned, right? And they opens up, like, so many opportunities, like maybe having an insurance on your leverage, or maybe borrowing against your options, through the options, sorry, not against the options. Yeah, so it opens up so many possibilities, and we've launched a bunch of products, and we still have a bunch of products to launch. Like, only in Q1 we're launching our second. I think it might be in beginning of Q2, but we're launching our second dual token, which is RDPX. RDPX is just like a rebate token that is backed. We have a whole mechanism behind that, which is a bit complicated, but the idea is that it's completely backed. So whenever you get this rebate token, whenever you basically provide liquidity to options, whatever loss that you accrue through at the expiry, for example, if your options is in the money, you would receive a percentage back in this rebate token, right? And this rebate token would basically incentivize more liquidity into the option vaults, because you're getting this yield back, plus the yield that you're usually getting through premiums and everything like that, right? Yeah, so for the option scalps, the option scalps is a new product we're launching I believe we're launching on the day that Arbitrum is launching their token, and we're even having a competition. So if anybody wants to join that competition, I think the prize pool is like 3K. And basically it's like you can think of it as GMX, right? So you basically can leverage trade very short term options. So you can leverage let's say 110x up to 110x on Ethereum, or leverage on the Arbitrum token itself on the launch date, right? So we believe, like I'm pretty sure we're going to be the only ones that are going to offer this I would say like GMX, like perpetual style of way of trading the actual Arbitrum token at launch date. So if anybody that wants to trade, like I would say, what's the word for that? Do I would say, what's the word for that? Like do a leverage trade on Arbitrum, but let's say they want to just try it out or whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna have the platform for that. You can come on Dopex, leverage trade 110x short or long on basically ETH or ARB. And yeah, I think the product is pretty cool. On the sell side, I would say you have no risk. So comparatively to GLP, GLP usually you deposit and you have the trading the trading P&L from the traders. You're basically exposed to that, right? On the option scalps, you're not exposed to the trading P&L. And why is that? Is because the way it works is that, let's say you deposit Ethereum, you're basically providing liquidity for the shorts, and if you're depositing USD, you're basically providing liquidity for the longs. And the way that works is that when a trader wants to long, for example, in Ethereum, they basically borrow the USD and they swap it for Ethereum. And when they swap it for Ethereum, that puts the position of the seller as neutral, and basically what they receive is only the fees and the premium, basically. In exchange for them providing liquidity, right? So they're not exposed to the trading P&L, but they're still receiving. You can think of it as neutral, like providing liquidity in USDC, right? Or in a stable coin that you're actually receiving premiums in exchange. Meanwhile,
Saitama, so before we go on to Chemist, I know you have your hands up, brother. Has there ever been the possibility of perhaps some cross-chain probability with like modular systems such as Fuel Network or chains built on Rust for the Dopex platform, or even things such as Layer 3, which has been slowly coming out about in various fireside discussions? Is that something that can be entertained within Dopex? Sort of like, have the UI and even the token be cross-chain compatible with ecosystems such as that. I know Caldera XYZ is working to facilitate things of that nature.
Yeah, we've launched recently on Polygon, so that's one chain we're gonna expand on. But we are, I would say, like we want to go slow because yes, we can launch like on a bunch of chain and everything, but I feel like when a protocol goes too fast, and they just launch on every chain possible, and we've seen that with a lot of protocols do that, they don't catch traction because they're missing the point of I would say that the point of marketing, and you have to basically build a community. If you don't build a community in the chain that you go in, it's hard to gain traction because the community is almost everything, right? And that's why like we're so, I would say we're big in Arbitrum, because we've like started this community since a long time ago, like when Arbitrum since Arbitrum started, and like the community, the Dopex community is awesome. Like I really enjoy like I really enjoyed being part of this community, and yeah, like we have memes and all kinds of stuff. We talk about literally anything, and I think that's mostly what, because at the end of the line, like every protocol almost you can say is like a startup, right? We're still startups until like there's actually traction of actual revenue and real world revenue that integrates the ecosystem. We're pretty much just like everybody says that, but we're a huge casino in a way, right? Because everybody's trading against each other for just a financial system, right? So I would say it's like I mean, I'm sure you understand what I mean, but yeah, I think like the idea is having a strong community and keep building good products for when this adoption actually happens, for you to be prepared for that. So I believe like at the online, like the investor has to think which protocol, when the actual adoption comes, which protocol is set up with enough products, long-term products, that makes sense in a financial system, right? So think of Robinhood and CFI is basically like they have options. They're a big trading exchange, and they offer a good user experience, right? And at the end of the line, that's what you want. Something efficient that works and that has good traction and a good gaming, I would say, game theory behind it. Because the idea of having, for example, options on different type of for example, us, we have options uh, let's say straddles. You want to bet on volatility, you can come on Dopex, bet on straddles. Now we have scalps, so you want to do a 5 minute or a 3 like 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour call option or a put option. Uh, like with leverage, you can do that, right? Or stuff like that. Like basically financial tools that allow you to make good bets on whatever is going to happen when the adoption actually gets in.
Dow, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, man. If you guys are enjoying this space, feel free to retweet it and drop any questions you have right there in the little chat box at the bottom right. And yeah, we're just here joined by our good friends over building on Arbitrum, Dopex. We're here joined by Saitama, pretty cool guy, really enthusiastic about all things DeFi. And, you know, it's not every day where you get to have one of the highest TVLs protocols from Arbitrum on a Twitter space. So really good stuff here, man. Dow, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, super excited to have you with us, Saitama. You mentioned a lot of really cool, exciting products for Dopex, right? Like you mentioned Atlantics, the straddles, option scalping, RDPX. So it sounds like you guys are building this really rich ecosystem around option trading, right? And you did mention as well that one of the reasons you have like maybe like a centralized exchange, right? And the context of the conversation is in TradFi, option trading is a massive market, right? We talk about derivatives, probably talk about like tens of trillions of dollars worth of, trading of options every year, right? In your opinion, do you think that adoption of options in DeFi is going to happen in more or less like this back end infrastructure when you're using options, but not necessarily
Kimus,
directly for
sorry to interrupt.
traders, where
Could
it's
you
more like,
repeat
as you
the
said,
last?
like, what do you think it will be actually like a design market?
Sorry, Kimus. I think you're lagging, so I'm hearing like a lot of. But I mean, could you repeat just the last part? That's the only thing I missed.
Sure. So my question to you is, when you look at the adoption of options, right, in DeFi, it sounds like you're painting at least two different routes for that adoption to happen. Is it going to happen as more like a back end technology, where options are part of existing products and they make them maybe to optimize them, like you said, like insurance for perpetuals or structured products? Or do you think there's going to be like a massive adoption of on-chain options directly in the marketplace, where traders are getting access to a more efficient option market that we have today? Like, do you think it's going to be like a marketplace adoption or more like a back-end technology adoption?
I mean, it's hard to say. We're aiming to be the infrastructure of DeFi, right? That's the whole OpFi narrative that we're trying to push right now. Because the idea is like, why don't we use this the collateral within the options to basically, because like I mentioned before, the options are like they have to be fully collateralized, right? They have to be like the option sellers always have to be made whole, and also the option buyer, right? So how can we use these very far out the money options that are fully collateralized, but the since they're long tail assets, how can we use these the assets within them to actually provide value to whatever type of I don't know, like a yield that you want to accrue, or whatever type of product that you want to use, right? So we decided, like, what if we build the Atlantis products? The Atlantis products, the idea is basically, let's use the collateral within the options and be the infrastructure of DeFi, right? So one of the ideas that came out was the insurance, for example, which a lot of, like, if you look at CeFi, a lot of the big institutionals, what they do is they always hedge their positions, and this is what we're trying to do basically, but without the having the users to understand the complexity of options, right? Like you could basically be leveraged and have just a little checkbox on the UI that says I don't want to have a liquidation, right? So if you look at back in the bull market, like when you look when we started dropping in price with Ethereum, when we were like everything was going crazy, and like the bear market started, you can see all these like big wicks that red wicks that fucking killed the Ethereum price, and those happened because there was all these liquidations happening all the time, right? Everybody was leveraged, like over leveraged, and there was this big wick. Everybody got liquidated, and then basically the market chilled for a few weeks. Then everybody was like leveraged again because like everybody was just a degen like a few years ago, right? And yeah, like we want to prevent that. Like the idea is like, why can't we use options as something that users trade the same way they're trading on any other platform, but we use actually the collateral within this option and provide value to the seller via options that is fully collateralizing this option, right? And the value that comes out of that is that you can basically provide an insurance, or you can, one of our next products that we're coming out with is going to be lending, right? We're going to be like, you can think of us like an Aave, but through options. And the idea is you can come with Ethereum, for example, deposit Ethereum the same way you would on Aave, but you borrow against the Ethereum. But instead of borrowing by having another user depositing, let's say USDC, you basically instead deposit. You basically purchase a put, and this put has the USDC within it, right? Because it's fully collateralized. So what if you purchase that put and you borrow the collateral, like this far out the money put, or if you want even in the money put, not in the money but at the money, or yeah, even in the money, right? You purchase this put, you deposit the collateral, like, which is Ethereum, and you borrow the collateral within the put, right? So you borrow the stable coins. And what does this give? Like, what's the benefit from this? This basically allows users to borrow against an asset without having liquidation for until the expiry of the option. So on Aave, you could have this liquidation price if everything works down, right? But on Dopex, you could do the same type with the same amount. Like the fees would come out to almost the same price, and almost the same percentage, I would say. And you would basically get the same outcome, but you would have no liquidation on your asset, right? And another thing that comes out of that is that we're also it's less risky for example, for hacks or whatever, like vector attacks and stuff like that. Like, since every option is siloed to the contract itself, because the contract that you're purchasing, the put contract, wants to purchase a put basically tells you, I want to purchase this asset, right? And that's why you're depositing the Ethereum and you're able to borrow against it. So since the put wants to purchase that asset, if the asset is not returned, it's fine. The put is still made whole because you basically are providing this the asset back, right? We're holding the asset. So we're preventing like this like what happened to Euler, right? Euler got hacked, and it wasn't just one pool, like a bunch of pools got wrecked, right? And through our model, basically this prevents that from happening, because every single position that's borrowed is siloed away from the other positions, other vaults, for example. and yeah, like it prevents like a lot of stuff from happening. Like we're not interacting with two there's no two users that are borrowing from one user that's borrowing to the other user, right? So we're basically having the put contract that is made whole by the depositor that's borrowing, and yeah, from that it prevents a lot of risks, and at the same time it prevents from liquid no you have no liquidity, right? Liquidation, sorry, not liquidity. So you have no liquidation. So there's all these little benefits that just make sense, and yeah, we're looking forward for that, and that's why we're going this route, which is options as infrastructure. And I might have went off a bit over there. I think this answered your question. If not,
Yes, to say, Tama, you really went in there, brother. Just straight alpha, bro. I was gonna ask you about like the security measures that you guys take, but you just went in there immediately, bro. So I'm loving the conversation, man. And there's a reason why you guys have so much activity within your platform. So that follows up with my next question, brother. As a DeFi platform, what are some of the key features that you believe are pivotal for project success?
repeat that, please. I think I
Yeah,
missed her.
yeah. It was just like as a DeFi platform, what are some of the
Yeah.
key features that you believe are pivotal for a project success? And also, this is also something that I've been asking various individuals. But you know, uh, do you believe that mobile integration is going to become a pivotal key feature for a lot of these DeFi platforms? Because I know there are some wallets, like Argent Wallet, where users are able to access a protocol of their choice through one easy interface. And I truly believe that like the more accessible that we make this with a clean UI, which of course you guys have and also our friends over at GMX have, those are going to be some pretty key integral parts over the next few years.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like I don't know if like we're there yet, like for a mobile application, but it definitely like everybody uses their phone for everything, right? So like right now, I feel like DeFi is still like we're still in this bubble where everybody like knows what they're doing. Like like I feel like there's a really like not enough like I feel like people are leaving DeFi more than they're coming in right now because we're in a bear for sure, right? But as at one point, right, when the retail actually starts coming back into DeFi, which is gonna happen at one point for sure. Like DeFi is we're building the future of France, right? But when they come back, yeah, mobile is gonna has to take off at one point. The same way that I believe also like this, there's this protocol that came to see us, and they were like one of their products was like them building an interface. Basically, instead of having your every like a lot of protocols right now have their communications done on Discord, right? And the idea for their product was that what if we instead have this chat box the same way like all these other um, like all these other websites that are not from DeFi have, right? They have a chat box and everything's done on their website. So Discord like is an exterior thing, like it's completely has nothing to do with the website itself, and users like when it's more seamless if you think about it, just having going on one website, not needing to think like if you want to support is some support, you stick to the website. You don't need to think about like for the announcements, let's go on Discord. For this, let's go talk to somebody over there. So everything's done on the website itself. So I think like that would be a first step before the mobile thing, having the actual platforms have all the support included inside the website. But from there, I'm guessing like mobile is gonna pick up at one point. Yeah.
So that's sort of like what Stani from Aave is doing with Lens Protocol, yeah, sort of like building this tree chain with a lot of socials all integrated in one. Am I correct on that, or am I missing like a pivotal piece here?
I'm not sure about them, but yeah, like if they're building everything on their website, like everything, like
Yeah.
support, basically announcements, stuff like that, like new products coming out. They still have their social medias, of course,
Yeah.
but yeah, the idea of is just having everything directly on the website.
Yeah. So what was the vision of Dopex a year ago? given what's happened over the last few years with stablecoins depegging, DeFi hacks, exchanges going down, and did that align with the same path that Dopex took to get to where they are today?
I feel like we've always been long term. So like our treasury is had, and like since our launch, we had enough to support us for a runway of like 10 years. Like we have no problem with funding for the protocol itself. So we've never had this idea of like let's if it doesn't work like this year, we're fucked, right? Or something like that. The idea is always has been long term. Let's be the best protocol, like options protocol on the platform. We want to be the Deribit of on chain, right? So to get there is going to take time, but we're pretty confident that at one point we're going to get there. There's a bunch of I would say hurdles along the way, but we're combating them one by one.
Cool, man. And my next question would be, what are some current things in the roadmap that we can look forward to? I know that things like Plutus and Jones DAO have built on top of Dopex, and I'm also interested in hearing about what other sort of products can be built on top of Dopex. I know GMS kind of has like the same thing where there are various products that sort of use the GMX framework on the back end. So really interested to learn more about what you guys are doing over at Dopex as far as this goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we have like I mentioned, the options scalps coming out on the day of the Arbitrum token airdrop, the 23rd. So that's gonna allow, like I mentioned, leverage trading, very short term. So you can bet 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, up to 1 hour basically. And yeah, that's gonna. I think that product is gonna be very cool because on the on short term time frames, I would say. We're the least expensive way to basically trade leverage, since they're very like you can basically bet on 5 minutes, right? And yeah, like from there, I would say we are gonna have also what type of product we're gonna have 0 date options that are gonna come out also in Q1 by the end of Q1. So basically 1 day options. That'll be probably
That's
on the
gonna
blue
be
chips.
interesting, Brand. 0 day options on
Yeah.
blue. That's gonna be something else, bro. That's gonna be
Yeah,
something, brother.
I think like scalps and 0 date options are gonna be our I would say our biggest volume products. So we're looking forward for those. Yeah, because like if you look at retail, 0 date options are going crazy, right? So it just made sense for us to also include them. And from there, I think the RDPX, right? The RDPX rebates for the sellers of the options, and that's going to be pretty big. A lot of users have been waiting for that for I would say forever, 1 year and a half. By crypto time, that's forever. And yeah, I think from there, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Like we have the UI overhaul. We have, I would say, what else? Like there's so many products. Like the lending product, right? So you're gonna be able to lend. We even have. One point you're going to be able to leverage bonding, right? Leverage bonding, like imagine like going on Olympus, and you can't usually you wouldn't be able to leverage bond because you have this expiry, right? And if you get liquidated, that couldn't happen. But through the Atlantics, that basically allows you to have a put contract, which doesn't allow you to get liquidated. So basically, we're opening up the possibility for leverage bonding. Yeah, like we're even gonna have option perps, so you can think right now like the narrative around like perpetuals, the option perps is the same thing with the same thing that you can think of the same product as GMX, but on the back end it's options. So basically this allows like little benefits, like you can keep, if you get liquidated, you can keep your bias position, your directional bet, right? So if you're long and you get liquidated, you can keep your option contracts on liquidation. So yeah, like all these little things that options offer differently from these already established products that are primitives on DeFi, we can basically do that through options differently, and it opens up like a bunch of opportunities. And we're taking uh we're we're basically profiting off of that, right? Like we're like since we're basically the option protocol, we're like going all out on this. Like that's why we're releasing a bunch of products, and we're like fuck it, whatever sticks, we work on that, and we keep updating from there, right?
So for the average user, Saitama, and it's pretty
Yeah.
cool to call you Saitama, dude. I love One Punch Man. Both seasons are amazing. My favorite character is Garo. I think a lot of people can relate to Garo,
Yeah.
especially the music. I love the One Punch Man music. But brother, if you were to say like very concisely, what are some of the key differences to know between something like Dopex and a centralized platform such as Deribit?
um I mean, our pricing is very similar to Deribit because we back out the implied volatility from Deribit, because Deribit is the market maker. So you can think of Deribit as the NYSE, right? Without the NYSE, there's no pricing for any stocks. There's no pricing for any options, and that the reason behind that is because you need volume, and if volume is not there, your prices are not. Um, how can I explain this? Your prices are not
So
optimized to fair
it's like an
prices.
oracle of sort. Then would you say like you can think of it as an oracle?
Yeah, you can think of it as an oracle because in a way, like you can think of it as an oracle because these market makers, they allow for the fair pricing of these options because there is volume, so they can gauge what is the actual price of this word, how much is the volatility, how much is this going to move, and what is the actual I would say the actual possibility of this option being in the money, right? So they're going to price this option fairly and as precise as possible, and that's why we're backing out the, because 90% of crypto options happen on Deribit. So when you basically you could do basically price discovery, but when you do price discovery on chain, you're basically taking a risk that this option might be not priced like it could be a misprice, right? And when it's mispriced, it's either the buyer or the seller that gets screwed somehow. And if there is sophisticated traders that are trading on your platform and you have a misprice, he's gonna know how to position himself, and then the other guy basically gets screwed in a way, right? And we basically are we're basically going the route of the fair pricing, which is having the actual implied volatility backed out of somewhere where there's actual volume, which is what even in CFI, that's what everybody does, right? Like the actual pricing comes from, like, let's say the NYSE or other big places where there's a lot of volume. Like these small exchanges on even on CFI, they're not gonna do price discovery and stuff like that because it doesn't make sense for them to do it, and basically you're probably gonna get arbitrage or whatever, but the sellers there are gonna get wrecked, right? But yeah, so the idea is like let's back out the implied volatility from somewhere that there's actual volume, make the price fair. And what was the question? Just quick, because I feel like I derived a bit.
Yeah, we covered it, bro. We covered it. We covered
Yeah.
it. You did,
Okay,
man.
cool.
You're doing phenomenal, bro. I'm loving the conversation. I see we have Dow with his hands up, and we have about 10 minutes left, guys. So if you're in the audience and you want to come up and give any of your statements or any questions to one of our friends over at Dopex, feel free to do so. We'll be taking in some questions now. And Dow, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm enjoying all the alpha you're dropping, Saitama. I got more like maybe like a general question for you, right? Because I think it's really exciting what you guys are doing for Dopex, and maybe something you touched on earlier, which is that from someone on the outside looking in, it might look like that, what GMX and what Dopex and all the derivative markets are doing, it's like a big casino, right? It's like a zero sum game. For me to win, someone else has to lose. And so a lot of question that people have a lot of time is when it comes to DeFi, they wonder if there's more to DeFi than just a casino for DJs, right? So in your own words, in your opinion, do you think that options outside of just being a casino have a real utility that can be articulated, for DeFi or outside of DeFi? And maybe just to make my question a bit simpler, like when it comes to Dopex vision, is there more to the vision than just providing a casino for people to gamble? And is there like a utility for the rest of the market or for the economy out there?
Yeah, I would say it's not really like it is like for example, options on CFI. It's not really a casino because these companies have. That's why they don't like call them casinos. They're actually sophisticated hedge funds and stuff like that are trading these, and they're trading actual assets that have value, and that's why we don't call them casinos, because you can actually make predictions and you can actually have these I would say companies that have revenue and a bunch of analysts that are expecting a bunch of revenues for the next years and stuff like that, right? So it's not really a casino. At one point, I mean, right now in DeFi, I would say it is a bit, but the only thing I would say that is very cool about DeFi is that imagine like you're in CFI, right? And you're betting on options, you're selling options on Apple stock, right? Imagine Apple would pay you some stocks for you to provide liquidity, selling these options, right? That's basically what you can think of in DeFi. In DeFi, the important thing that I mentioned is that, like I mentioned, if when you're investing, you want to basically when you're investing in a certain protocol, because you believe that at one point this protocol is going to pick up in the future, probably in like maybe in 3 years, I don't know, 2 years, whatever time frame your investment. Like this is all non-financial advice, by the way. I'm just like saying how it is. But yeah, so basically the idea is like you're investing for this protocol and you're thinking, look, this protocol is going to be like a big once like there's actual companies with revenue and all that, because they actually have a model that works and everything. But I want to purchase this protocol, but this protocol, what are they doing, right? They have this incentive program, for example, for everybody that's providing liquidity in DeFi right now. For Ethereum, that's basically a chain, right? Chain has actual value, because the chain that actually wins at one point is going to be basically you can take the AWS of like DeFi, right? That actually is providing the data transactions for every project that builds on top of that chain, right? So that has value. So how can I provide liquidity for Ethereum and on this platform, and at the same time I receive this liquidity mining program. I receive basically the tokens from this protocol, and I basically start accruing yield from this protocol, and basically not yield, but I would say a share of this protocol, right? So maybe then by the end of the line, you own 1% of this protocol, which is actually amazing, because you're at the end, like your first investment thesis was that this protocol was going to do well on the long term. So might as well just find ways for you to participate in this protocol and receive like ownership by participating, right? So that's my thinking right now, like of my view on DeFi. I do think like there's like value behind protocols for their future value, right? For sure. And the idea like is how can I accrue share ownership of these protocols, while at the same time yeah, like at the same time just not playing too crazy at the same time, because you don't want to lose everything, right? DeFi is a bit crazy, and you don't want to like go gamble 99% of your net worth. But yeah, I think that's my answer for that question.
This has been a great discussion, guys. Saitama, so where can people learn more about all things Dopex and Arbitrum? What resources do you recommend?
Yeah, so if you guys go on the Dopex Twitter, you'll see that there's a link, a link tree to there's the website, and like a bunch of other links to everything that Dopex is building. We have basically, I think the best place for to learn is on the Discord, because the community is amazing. You can ask literally any left curve question, you'll get an answer. We have a support team. We have also docs that explain like A to Z options. Where basically we're doing our rehaul of the docs. They're gonna come out probably tomorrow or the day that the options cops are gonna come out. So yeah, like we have a blog also that goes over even the Greeks for options, stuff like that. So I do think like there's the space if you want to learn options. We're basically the place to learn options. I've learned options through Dopex personally, so take me as an example of of somebody starting from the bottom, right?
That's awesome, man, dude. I'm looking forward to more of these Arbitrum spaces. And one thing that I'd love to do, hopefully in the next like 2 months, is have you guys from Dopex, have some of the GMX guys, some of the Vela guys, and a few other protocols on Arbitrum, and sort of have like this once a week mega space where it's like a think tank, right? Where we all just come together and brainstorm and, shoot the shit and kind of talk about all things that are ongoing within Ethereum. And that's how these new and exciting protocols are made. When you align great minds together and it's just shooting alpha straight back and forth, you can create some good things, man. So appreciate the time that you took, man, to join us here at Because Bitcoin, dude. And for the audience, if you're new, my name's Wabi. I host these spaces throughout the week. Tomorrow we'll be hosting the guys over from Phantom, Byte Masons, and also Granary Finance at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And you guys can catch a replay of the space on our YouTube almost immediately when the space is done. And Saitama, dude, it's been an honor. You're fucking awesome. Look forward to growing this friendship with you and becoming a value contributor to all things Arbitrum. I feel welcomed by the community already, man, and it's been awesome talking about all things, decentralized options and Dopex, man. I myself have learned a shit ton today, man, and like I had some questions in the back of my head, and dude, you were just after it, bro, just spitting alpha back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, bro. You're truly one of a kind, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, you're too kind, man. Appreciate it, and thanks for having me, man. We can do the yeah, we can do the space with GMX and everything. I'll be happy to join.
Yeah, man. Yeah, looking forward to it. I believe, hopefully, like early next month, I can talk to the guys at Camelot and Vela, and then start doing like the mega spaces and come up with something cool, man. I think like if we get like some cool giga brains from each protocol and come together, we can create some cool shit for the next bull run, man. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you know what I mean, dude? That's what our boy. I mean, I wouldn't call him our boy, but that's what Danny did with Andre, with the whole V33 thing. I know it's kind of controversial, but it's all good, man. It's all good. But anyways, man, thank you all so much. Thank you all in the audience. Thank you so much to Dow Chemist for providing some backup sometime on these spaces, bro. Always appreciate you, brother. And yeah, if you guys are new to these spaces, feel free to follow us here Because Bitcoin and turn on bell notifications so you can be made aware of when I host these spaces. And yeah, you'll be able to have some insight and some alpha drops from people building on Arbitrum, people building on like modular stacks such as Saga. I'm also going to be hosting Fuel Network in a couple of weeks, so look forward to that. And also, some things are wrapping up with Celestia after so many months and months of trying to get them on. Something's finally coming to fruition. So that's a little bit of alpha for you guys. Take care and feel free to follow Dopex and also Saitama for future alpha drops on all things Arbitrum and what they're building with Dopex. So that being said, take care. I'm going to go ahead and go to AMC Theaters and watch Shazam. I like to do that every Tuesday. I like to go and watch horrible movies. It's just so bad you just have to watch it, right? I know some people complain about Marvel movies and things like that, but me, frankly, it's just out of principle. I grew up watching Marvel movies and DC movies, and you know, you go from watching Wolverine and Batman, and then it's like you have a hero who doesn't even know who the fuck he is, right? So it's like you kind of have to watch the downfall. It's like a train wreck, right? So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna go watch Shazam, and you all have a nice night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. We'll be back tomorrow, as I said, with some of the guys building on Phantom, Byte Masons, and Grenary Finance. So take care, everyone. God bless you. Peace.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Ciao, guys.
The trading current is just math. It's just math. It has a 95.45% hit rate when we deviate outside of CP2 and CN2. All you had to do is recognize that 95% of the time when we get over here, under this blue line, we get some sort of mean reversion. So let's just assume you long right here. 95 out of 100 times, when I buy this, I'm gonna get some sort of bounce. It's just math. Look what would have happened as we move up. Look at the bounce that came after. And now look where we are. If you had just blindly followed the current, you take all emotions out of it, and you say, I'm going to trust the statisticians, you would have bought Dow Jones somewhere down here under 30,000, depending on how you want to measure it from absolute top to bottom, 20% move. We also have multi-time frame alerts. You don't even have to be at your computer on TradingView. You can ping your phone. Now, the current has some really awesome features, and I would urge you guys to join our Discord to get access to it. We give it away for free as a tool to the community. It's just math. There's really no need to overcomplicate things, not even in the slightest.